Okay, first and foremost, to get the record straight, to set the record straight, this here is my initial complaint, the beginning of it all, on what started the lawsuit. And this is filed in District Court of Louisiana of the Eastern District. And this was filed on November 6, 2019. And clearly, the defendants and the defendants' counsel all received a summons and also the complaint. So they see and know what is going on as well. And this is what they are trying to avoid. And this same complaint here is the same complaint that the defendants' counsel used in this case against me. My own words used against me. And I mean, it's so broken down, but here I'm going to put it all together for you. Because this right here shows everything and tells you exactly what happened step by step. And there's more to this. I, Brandon Lee Brackens, am writing this letter to who may read this of my job's illegal actions and fear of my employment. This letter was written on November 4, 2018, as I felt more threatened for doing my job as an employee. I've started Stericycle 15 months ago and witnessed a lot here for questioning authority of job-related concerns. During my interview, I was told one thing how the job operates, and once hired, everything changed. Not properly trained on how to fulfill the position that I have applied for. When I was hired, my training didn't come from anyone in upper management, to be trained right. In less than a month on the job, I was thrown in the field blind. Learning things on my own because every man has his own method of doing things their own way. Again, every man has his own method of doing things their own way. My family depends on me as a father and a husband to support them by working safe and coming back home the same way. Supervision or upper management should ride with the new hire to teach them how to handle the medical waste and interact with customers or clients. As I work, my safety and health are the main concern with any person on any job. But management care nothing about any employee. After being told of my job title, not worried about if I knew an area or not, management made sure I ran it all. I've asked supervision, named defendant in the case, Christopher Perez, to ride with me, and he told me no. Telling me to do what you can, and always stating everything is pretty easy. It's pretty easy to show a route mapped out on computer, and it don't show you what you may encounter in the field. So as time went on, this swing driver, named defendant Brendan Arsenal, been telling supervision what he not going to do or run no route. Perez and Arsenal had an unorthodox supervisor-employee relationship. He told me himself, Arsenal, that he was stepping down. I did not know what he meant by it until I started seeing things for myself. And if Arsenal don't want to run a route, he would play hurt. Arsenal literally told everyone he hurt his back on the job while at work. Arsenal claimed he hurt his back fooling with a hydraulic liftgate. But never took off or filed an injury report. I've caught him perfectly fine, and this has been going on since July 2018. Perez allows Arsenal to come to work just to sit on the clock while I get screwed over running the routes he turns down. Some routes I have done was told to me the morning of, not the day before or 2 hours before my shift. I don't mind a text, but I don't even get that. Perez always tells me that the workboard is not updated if I check my schedule for the week. He uses this method as he will change the route like I don't notice. I have evidence on all the harassing, mistreated dealings with them all. Again, I have evidence on all the harassing, mistreated dealings with them all. Get to work early to run the route, and Perez switches my route for no legitimate reason. I've confronted Perez about why my route was changed. Arsenal and Perez have orchestrated the whole plan to where they don't want to work. Again, those two named individuals in this lawsuit have orchestrated the whole plan to where they don't want to work. They communicate amongst each other on what plans they have for me and the other swing driver, Willie. Willie is a friend of mine that I recommended to name defendant again, David Falata, when he was hired, and I have been mistreated, and he has too also has been mistreated as well. It's very vivid with Perez that he has a problem with me because I called him out on his need a helping hand. If you need help, ask, but you don't get that here. So here, like I said, this is my complaint. These are my words. So if anyone is feeling, bothered or feel like, you mad about something, if you want to fight these words. Get over these words first. Fight what's in black and white in front of your face first. So again, like I said, if any harm, bodily injury should happen to me because of me speaking what I went through on this job, you can call me or you can email me. So let's continue. I do follow the rules, but it's hard when you have those that wants to go against the book. The book is the rule book, the handbook, the employee's handbook. It's almost every day I am harassed, mistreated, and it caused me to stress on a lot. I don't get recognized for my hard work and dedication, but persecuted. The minute I mess up, they quick to look at your fault as a crime. My hours have been cut to the point I made nowhere near 40 hours in a 5-day work schedule as a full-time employee. After so much went on, I filed a complaint to HR on the misconduct of supervision and employee and related situations that became retaliation. Human Resources came down in August 2018 and set up a meeting for swing drivers only. Not all drivers, but just swing drivers only. Another thing as far as singling out. Another named defendant in the case, Brian Demarez and Perez, had set this meeting up, but Perez did not attend. Something didn't seem right because they just had myself and Willie sit in the yard until they called for the meeting. And who is they? HR and management. So there was a Joe and Carol there from HR. I had spoken with Joe afterwards. And in that time, after the meeting, we discussed that if this meeting should have any backlash or retaliation. Joe replied, no, it shouldn't, but it did. Since then, my hours was not applying to me in a 5-day period. They started sitting me, and they are known as management, started sitting me in the yard saying I'm going to do something later, and then nothing. I'll sit there in the parking lot for 5 to 6 hours and no communication from supervision. Doing nothing for hours in my vehicle as a form of punishment, I guess. I have bills to pay and a family to feed. They not only affecting me, but my livelihood and family. We all here to provide for our families. Again, we all are here to provide for our families. And just sitting in the yard in my vehicle is not a help. A lot of things go undone because how they operate here. The turnover rate is high here with employees, and it starts with management. Time went on while I was getting called to meetings privately. Rumors about me in a meeting that were supposed to be confidential and private became public. It has gotten to the point where Demarez, transportation supervisor, is never really on the job site. He is operating a whole second job and never here while this one is ran by incompetence. I have audio and video evidence needed for when he, Brian Demarez, threatened my job. It's truth to all this because I believe in doing what's right and my kids looking up to me. I don't want to be a failure in life because I have goals as well. Again, I don't want to be a failure in life because I, too, have goals as well. Okay, now this here, what I'm about to bring you into now was in November. This was actually November 1st right here when I was under a tornado watch and warning. And I did notify Perez the night before that I will be in late. No time was given due to trying to see what the weather with straight line winds do. This was another instance where there was no communication. No reply back was received that night, nor was a text back received the next morning. A plan to get me riled up. Perez took my route, which was pointless because the route could have been ran later that day because of the bad weather on November 1st, 2018. Demarez and Falada were the only two in the office as supervision. After the storm passed and the tornado watch and warning lifted, I headed in to work safely. Again, after the storm passed and the tornado watch warning lifted, I headed into work safely. No job is worth getting yourself injured or killed over. The job will always be there, but not my life if it's a safety risk. In other words, it's to the point others are talking about me and don't even know me. I don't bother no one, but come in and do my job. I was given a call from Falada about Demarez want to see me in the office. At this moment, I felt my job is now at risk, and then Demarez calls my phone. I was ordered to come to the office, and I've asked what's wrong. As I entered Demarez's office, he wanted to do a meeting in the conference room with Falada also. This is where it should have been a one-on-one conversation, but Demarez going off a hearsay about, when I mean hearsay, of what any third party or his management team is telling him. Now I'm feeling the tension rising as I wait in the office patiently. The little private meetings against me on no grounds but being falsely persecuted for things I'm doing by the book and reprisal was present in this meeting from Demarez. He slashes his rage towards me in a way of accusations and assumptions from what he had heard from supervision or some workers. I'm being singled out and have not heard of any other employee called into a meeting like this. Never once has Brian ever handled me so abruptly with frustration because I've questioned him. For someone who's never on the job, site, to have a vendetta or something against me, I feel threatened. Only thing on my mind is I believe in righteous doing, a good deed. But I'm being condemned for doing no wrong. There's audio and video footage that proves my case. Again, there's audio and video footage that proves my case. Now, it's a matter of time before they fire me on no grounds, which of course that's what they did. My supporting evidence I obtain will all lead up to this. And I thank you for reaching out and listening to my suffering as humble and honest as I can be. But this is not the end only. As you can see, like I said, I filed this in court. And we're going to move on so you can see how deep it really goes. Here, this is my letter of emotional distress and defamation of character. My suffering of damages done by Stericycle. I, Brandon Lee Brackens, am here to make my statement against Stericycle's allegations for emotional distress and defamation of character towards me. As an employee, my goals were and still is to provide for my family because my work doesn't stop here. There are other jobs and opportunity who would appreciate my dedication and time on a job. Being poorly trained by management only showed my interest level as undervalued as an employee. The negative effects of a lack of training is unsafe. So figuring things out as I go was my only way of learning. I come to a job to work, not my friends or enemies, because my family are my friends. During my employment, I've witnessed harassment and retaliation as it has happened to me for filing a complaint with HR against coworkers/management. There's no room for growth within this company to seeking higher positioning, and you will never grow successfully. They have tried every tactic to break me by overloading my workload, shortening my workday to working 2 to 6 hours as a full-time employee. Stolen hours and money in my pay with overtime, no safety bonuses or incentives for services of completion. Served with several write-ups to scare me. Have vandalized my personal property, which is my vehicle that I drive to and from work. But I still continue doing my job. My work speaks for me, and my reputation has been defamed by the incompetence of management. And also, too, to speak on that as well about the vandalism to my personal vehicle, personal property, I never did not once stated what my vehicle was, but this is vandalism on company property in a gate entry access yard. For real, this is a gate entry access yard. So that means my vehicle is secured, but is vandalized. There's a big letter B scratched in the window of my vehicle. And obviously I know I didn't do it, but we're going to go on. You're going to see more about it. So this job has performed unsafe acts of violations, put my safety at high risk, and for my family who sees me in everyday home. Safety is my number one priority. It comes home to my family as well by knowing safety is needed on a daily basis. I have been praised for my work performance. Yes, I've been praised for my work performance, saying I did a good job, and exceeding expectations. But then condemned within 2 years in the job to being terminated. Stericycle has physically, financially, and mentally damaged my reputation as a man with a family. But, they don't care. They have family, I have family. So we're going to continue on. Since the HR meeting, nothing has been handled by my anonymous filed complaint due to management HR business partner working together on the ordeal. After an encounter, I was told to sit in the yard with no route as a form of punishment. This went on for a while to basically frustrate me, but I have managed to rise above it all. They've tried many tactics to see who reported the complaint by having a swing drivers only meeting. It was for singling out the person of interest as to who is the anonymous person. Instead of a group meeting with all the drivers, only 3 drivers were summoned to the meeting. The other supervisor, who was also supposed to be present, was excused from the meeting, and no reason was given to why he was no present. So in other words, somebody's missing from this. Where's the supervisors? If you got 3 drivers and then you got the manager. Okay, so let's go on. They had me and another driver sit out until they got a story together. I've seen this with my own eyes, and there's evidence of who was in the meeting. The situation escalated very quickly as time went on. I have been followed, stalked, and harassed. Early in the morning by management and coworkers. They would observe my time frame when I clock in and out by lingering about on the job, watching my every move, but my job duties are the same as other employees. Again, you watching my every move, but my job duties the same as yours. Wow. I don't like being crowded or cornered, but these employees huddle up as a form of intimidation as I come in to work my daily routine. I'm harassed by management, sending messages across my device, phone, or rebooting my system to keep track of me. No other drivers have had any disciplinary actions against them but me for doing my job to the best of my ability. Everything has been orchestrated by management into harassing me by sending other drivers against me to doing the dirty work for them. I have been lied on, and stories have been fabricated about me that were told amongst others, third party, because none of them knew me. None of these men have approached me directly, but going off of hearsay from incompetent management. Enough is enough, because I can't perform my job duties or enjoy myself on a job without these evil deeds happening to me. Again, there's evidence to all of this, including the weather and paperwork. Just so everybody hear it very clear, and once again, and you can read this, screenshot it, whatever you have to do. There's evidence to all of this, including the weather and paperwork. A few drivers from the job have stalked my place of residency, but I act as if I didn't see them. One of the drivers seen me leaving my place of residency. Then I was approached the next day stating he seen me in my vehicle. This has happened as me and my wife were together leaving out. I felt very uncomfortable hearing that from the employee that does not live in my area. The employee and I don't even know nor speak to each other. Another driver who approached me stated he saw where I lived, but didn't know the complex I stay. This driver here lives in a whole different parish, 20 to 25 minutes away, and that is very creepy. Why are these co-workers stalking where my family and I reside? Why? These drivers know nothing about me, but always asking me questions. I choose not to discuss because it isn't pertaining to work-related issues. I have been drug tested more than any other drivers within 7 months. Yet I had no accidents or incidents because of their assumptions. Forced into signing fraudulent paperwork and write-ups, but I refused to sign. The manager is hardly there on site. Always takes supervision's side. For this shows nepotism. He overtalks you. And when I mean by he, you could say management. Anybody in management overtalks you when explaining the situation, and it always a one-sided deal with him. Him meaning Brian Demarest, the named defendant in this case. That's why I seek higher in the chain of command by asking questions. My back is against all odds, and my intentions are flaring with consistent retaliation towards me. I have a family to support and bills to pay, but these games are childish. Every now and then I feel watched, losing sleep to the point I have to protect myself by any means necessary. I am so stressed and on edge to even step outside my home just to have a peace of mind. And why? Because I have gangstalkers watching my every move, watching what I do, where I go, time frame, and watching everything. Say, I mean, what's understood don't need to be explained. So this has been ongoing since my employment was threatened to being terminated and coworkers stalking my home. Basically, I've been fighting this emotional distress and defamation of character for nearly 2 years, and it's still ongoing. Management are very persistent into terrorizing me to just give up, but that's my right they have violated as a man and an employee. After my termination, frustrated with no income from Stericycle, denying me unemployment because of their actions, I still haven't received a pink slip or a separation letter for my termination, and no reason given as to why my job came to an abrupt end. I will do what I have to do in order to protect and provide for mine. Gang stalking, I stated earlier, is where I stand now, as I still see some of these drivers, if not in hiding, wherever I may go. I've always been a content person and kept to myself, not bothering anyone or nobody. Doing my work to the best of my knowledge and ability because I wasn't properly trained. My neighbor who once worked with this company is now back at it since my termination. He was the same one who talked badly about this company, but went back after quitting the job once before. I just feel he is keeping tabs on me to run and tell what I'm doing back on that job. During Hurricane Barry, I've evacuated with my family to safety, and on my return, I've noticed one of the drivers in my parking lot. He stayed in my area for 2 days and have seen him back in my area since then. I have never seen this driver back here in my nearly 2 years of employment, and it's a scary feeling. For these gang stalkers nearing my home, I would do what I have to because I am protecting my family. My family suffers greatly because the actions of Stericycle has really broken my accomplishments. I've lost all benefits because I chose to stand against the wrongdoing that has affected me greatly. Management did not care about anything else, but I care about the safety of myself and others. Again, I care about the safety of myself as well as others. My termination of employment went from a list of evident attempts as to letting me go without reason for insubordination And my insubordination was stated on the paperwork, stating that I was terminated for insubordination, for not talking with supervisors or management about my job performance. But I've been there a whole year and a half. Nothing was wrong with my job performance when I started, and nothing was wrong with my job performance when my employment ended. Okay? So after being told from management that they don't need me, and this was stated by Christopher Perez, my whole life has changed drastically. Still no hard evidence to what I was terminated for in writing. Pink slip or separation letter. I speak and stand for myself, not to live in fear. It's depressing coming to work every day knowing these grown men want to be big bullies, and bullying I don't tolerate. There have been some close encounters to bodily hurting one of these men really bad for stalking or getting in my face. But you know, me, I'm a good person though. I fight people with words. So again, here, as I say to you once again, I don't condone to violence. If I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna fight you with these words that's right here in front of your face in black and white. So keeping my cool and walking away show that I'm a bigger man than these childish ways of grown men. My family has seen a change in my behavior and they didn't even do anything. So where's this built up anger? Where's this anger is really coming from? Misplaced anger. Where's that coming from? A place of negativity. This job has really made me feel some type of way towards a lot of businesses who treat employees wrong for a safe act or questioning their authority. My wife has listened to me and really understands what I have been through with this job. Our relationship has been affected, as well as my children, with the illegal acts of Stericycle has done to me. The handbook has been revised to benefit the company, not the employee of the company. So this same handbook I have in my possession, clearly, if they want the handbook to be broadcast, I can broadcast the handbook, but that's not my place. But clearly, there are rules in there that everyone should follow. And I didn't break none of these rules. I'm abiding by the rules of this handbook that they so-called say that they go by. This employment contract. But here, it's so unjust, and justice will be served by bringing these illegal acts to the light. Now watch this. For a safety incentive or bonus, I was given a holiday turkey voucher for my services of completion. That's it. And I have the proof on that. I still have these vouchers. Stericycle has a phrase, we protect what matters. So I will do the same and protect what matters, and that's my family. This has been a very strenuous journey working for a company like this. Especially against an employee. Working for a company like that. But you know, in closing, I just want to thank you for taking the time to hear and read my suffering in this notice of damages done by the company and its individual agents or defendants, you want to call them.